This process has been successful with healing things like emotional issues that you might have, from anger to fear, to sadness, to loss of loved ones, to divorce issues, issues of abuse, issues where you felt just a deep, low self-esteem.
I always turned to doctors, I always turned to antidepressants to fix it, because I didn't feel that inside I could be in control.
I spent a long time just pretending on the outside to be all happy party girl, like I can take as many drugs as anybody else and I've got the fabulous life with the husband and we've got the boat and we've got the cars and we've got the stuff, and then inside I was just dying.
There was lots of anger. I blamed the world for everything that happened to me. I blamed God for everything that happened to me. The only person I never looked at was myself.
I was very closed off with the world, almost making an effort within myself to prove to myself that that wasn't part of me and that I wasn't gay, but I was.
Just be driving my car and I'd just be all I could do to turn the corner instead of driving straight into like the wall that was ahead.
I turned to food. That was my thing. And even though I wasn't hungry, I wasn't needing to eat, I would eat, and I felt comfort from the food.
I had been sexually abused for 10 years of my childhood, and for 38 years I never told anyone about that and basically suppressed all that had happened.
I'd often blow up and yell a lot at the kids and hated myself for doing it.
I was such a I'll get you back, resentment, you know, it didn't matter how long it took.
It was really like this all the time. I was critical and really quick to, you know, to pull anyone down that I could.
Carrying around all that stuff is draining.
Mainly it's being used by people from all walks of life who know that in some way they feel held back or blocked in some way.
I'd hit rock bottom. I'd hit to a point where I couldn't go any further down. I just got myself in this hole and I felt like that I couldn't get out, and to a point where I felt like I needed to end it.
I lost my dad and my sister in a plane crash.
It was a separation, my marriage, and not only from a marriage but from the kids as well.
I mean, it was an incredible time for all of us.
What brought me to the journey was being diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and scleroderma. And both of them are incurable diseases.
At the age of 27, I'd been told that I couldn't have children.
I can remember getting up one morning and just looking up at God and just saying, please help me to get in touch with the anger and the resentment that I was holding.
We need to look at endometriosis, which is the disease that I had.
The journey actually helped me to get in touch with who I was and to actually go back and look at some of the things that had happened in my life.
I'd always blocked the wants and the needs, and it's like I can't have children, so I won't even think about it.
It doesn't seem to matter what your background is, what your age is, what your religious background is. Everyone is capable of going about the process of doing the journey.
The love of God just burns within me, especially when I see others growing through doing something as simple as a journey process. Yes, and changing their attitudes and knowing that they have the inner strengths, like I have the inner strengths now, strengths I didn't have or thought I didn't have before.
To be able to focus on a problem and to kind of get a sense of where to go, where you really need to go, and to go to the core of something.
As a psychologist and a client, I have faced those fears for my clients and for myself, and I've had to run away the next day feeling really depressed and thinking I'm not going to get out of bed, and no resources to deal with it because I've opened up wounds but not addressed them. Whereas with the journey, if anything you open up, you finish and complete in one cycle, one session.
And it's a process that you can undergo. And this really is an invitation for you to go on your journey?
My diagnosis at the moment is that I'm 6 years in remission, which I don't like using that terminology. I like to use I'm clear. Both the oncologist and my immunologist that looks after the scleroderma part of it have said that I have beaten 2 incurable diseases, so I'm very, very happy with that. Yes, so yeah, I'd say I'm top of the world at the moment.
I think the final change for me, that the journey woman process, that the person I was doing it with halfway through said, do you want children? Do you want to have a baby? And it was yes, that we'd made the decision to try, and it was okay. And so 2 weeks after, I was pregnant.
It was like somebody put their hand into the very core of my pain and dragged it out, and it's been like that ever since. It's just been a letting go, a letting go, a letting go.
Through that process, that clearly then put me in a position to be able to welcome a relationship like that.
Now I can express more to my kids. I feel like I don't shut them off as much either. I let them feel whatever they're feeling as well.
I was much better equipped to deal with the grief and the loss at that time than what I would have been years earlier without the journey.
I think I've just been a better dad than I've ever been.
It's a great tool, if I can use that teaching word, it's a great tool to have in your arsenal to work with children, with parents and with yourself.
Take a chance. If you do, you'll find life much more easier.
I can't imagine life without Journey. I can't imagine life without Journey, and that's why I'm so glad we found it. I'm so glad.
I'm in a space at this time in my life, at 54 years old, of something like bliss for the first time.
I've been in recovery nearly 7 years, and I've done a lot of work on myself in those 6.5 years, but nothing to what the journey did for me in one weekend.
Just if everyone did journey work, we could just heal the world, actually.
There is no division between what I do as a Western medical doctor and what I do in terms of thinking outside the box and using journey work.
Has brought so much life into so many whom I have touched, and into me too, clearing away the murkiness in my own life, and just making me a more open, a more loving, a more beautiful person.
There's freedom in this work. There's freedom in the journey.
This is what the journey's given me.
Yes. That's my prayer, that everyone has access to these tools, that they learn how to fish for their own inner potential inside of themselves, and they let that out. They let the stuff that's holding them back go, so they can be true. They can sing their heart song and live life how they're meant to.
So the time has come for you to begin your journey. The time is now.
It's a lot of fun to learn who I am and to not be afraid to be who I am, to not worry about what all these people think. You know, just to say, fantastic, this is who I am, and isn't it fun?